It is story time. Title: Broken Promises in London. Inti. London Cafe. Evening. The warm scent of fresh coffee and baked pastries filled the small, cozy cafe in central London. Amara, a 26-year-old Nigerian immigrant, wiped her hands on her apron as she approached table 5, where a tall, handsome man with piercing blue eyes sat, staring at the menu as if lost in thought. "Good evening, sir. What can I get you?" she asked, her voice soft but confident. The man looked up and smiled. His name was Ivan. "Just coffee, black. And maybe your name?" he said with a smirk. Amara hesitated, but eventually smiled. She had seen him a few times before, always alone, always polite. "Amara. Beautiful name," he said, watching her as she walked away. Inti. Same cafe. Weeks later, Ivan became a regular. Every evening at the same time, he sat at table 5 waiting for Amara. Conversations grew longer. He told her about his life, his unhappy marriage back in Ukraine, how he felt trapped, how he had never met anyone like her before. "You make me feel alive, Amara," he whispered one night as they stood outside the cafe after her shift. The London rain drizzled softly around them. "I want to be with you. I want to leave my wife. For you." Her heart fluttered. She knew it was wrong. He was married, but love doesn't always wait for perfect circumstances. Until Amara's apartment, months later. Their secret romance burned bright. Dinners, laughter, stolen weekends. He made her feel special, like she was the only woman in the world. Then, one night, everything changed. "I'm pregnant," Amara whispered, her hands shaking. Ivan's face froze. "You're sure?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Yes." A long silence. Then, forcing a smile, he kissed her forehead. "Don't worry, I'll take care of everything." 1 week later, Ivan disappears. Amara tried calling. No answer. She texted. No reply. She waited at the cafe. He never came back. Panic turned to heartbreak. She had been abandoned. One evening, desperate, she called from a friend's phone. This time he picked up. "Ivan, why?" she whispered, tears streaming down her face. A deep sigh, then cold words. "It was a mistake, Amara. I can't leave my wife. I'm sorry." Click. The line went dead. Epilogue. 1 year later, Amara sat at the cafe, her newborn daughter in her arms, her heart hardened but stronger. She had lost Ivan, but she had gained something far greater, a reason to never need him again. And as she looked at her child, she knew one thing for sure. She would never let her feel abandoned. Title: Broken Promises in London, Part 2. 1 year later, Amara's apartment. The soft cries of her baby girl Zara filled the small London flat. Amara rocked her gently, exhaustion in her bones but love in her heart. It had been a year since Ivan vanished, a year since she realized she had been nothing more than a secret. But secrets don't stay buried forever. Int, fancy restaurant, evening. Amara barely recognized herself in the reflection of the restaurant window. No more the struggling waitress. She had moved on, found a better-paying job at a law firm as an administrative assistant. She had come to this restaurant for a business dinner with her boss, but the moment she stepped inside, her breath caught. There he was, Ivan, dressed in a crisp suit, laughing with a group of men. He looked the same, but different. There was something tired in his eyes, something restless. Her heart pounded. She could have turned around and walked out, but no, not this time. Instead, she walked right up to him. Ivan. The color drained from his face. His eyes darted to his colleagues, then back to her. "Amara," he whispered. "You disappeared," she said, voice steady but filled with anger. "And you have a daughter you never met." He swallowed hard. "Not here. Please. Can we talk somewhere private?" T. Ivan's car, parked on a London street. They sat in tense silence. I didn't know what to do, Ivan finally said, running a hand through his hair. I was a coward. I thought, if I walked away, it would all go away. Amara laughed bitterly. And did it? Did your guilt just vanish? He exhaled. No, it's haunted me every day. A long pause, then barely a whisper. Can I see her? The first meeting. A week later, Ivan stood at Amara's doorstep, nervous. She opened the door, holding Zara. The baby stared at him with his blue eyes. Something broke inside him. Hi, Malinki Angelok, little angel, he whispered, voice trembling. Zara reached out, grabbing his finger. Tears welled up in Ivan's eyes. I want to be in her life, he choked out. I don't know how, but I need to try. Amara watched him, searching his face for lies, and for the first time in a long time, she saw something real. Regret. Love. A chance at redemption. Then prove it, Ivan, she said softly. Be better. And with that, the door to the past didn't just close, it cracked open for a new beginning. Title: Broken Promises in London, Part 3. 1 month later, Amara's apartment. Amara watched as Ivan carefully spoon-fed Zara in her high chair. The baby giggled, smearing mashed bananas all over her tiny face. It was surreal. A man who once abandoned them now sat in her kitchen, trying to be a father. But could she trust him? I want to do this right, Ivan said suddenly, as if reading her thoughts. I don't just want to visit. I want to help. Financially. Emotionally. Everything. Amara folded her arms. And your wife? Does she know? Silence. Ivan shifted uncomfortably. We separated. Her eyes narrowed. Separated or just another excuse? He met her gaze. Separated. We're getting a divorce. Her heart skipped a beat. She had once dreamed of this moment. But now, standing here, watching him with Zara, she wondered, was love even enough anymore? Int. Law firm. Amara's office. Later that week, Amara sat at her desk struggling to focus. Her boss, Mr. Holden, a middle-aged British lawyer, knocked on her door. You all right, Amara? You've been distracted lately. She sighed. It's complicated. Zara's father, he's back. Mr. Holden studied her. And what do you want? She hesitated. I don't know. Ivan's apartment. Night. Ivan opened the door, relieved to see Amara standing there. You said you wanted to prove yourself? She said, stepping inside. Then tell me the truth. Why now? Why after all this time? Ivan sighed, rubbing his face. Because I was a coward. Because I made a mistake. And because every time I close my eyes, I see her. Our daughter. Amara swallowed hard. I don't expect you to forgive me overnight, he continued. But I want to earn your trust. To earn us. Us. The word sent a shiver down her spine. She took a deep breath. Then prove it, Ivan. Day by day. No promises. No rushed. Decisions. Just time. And as he nodded, determination in his eyes, Amara realized something. Maybe, just maybe, broken things could be rebuilt. Title: Broken Promises in London, Part 4. 4 months later, Amara's apartment. The soft hum of lullabies filled the room as Amara rocked Zara to sleep. Her daughter's tiny fingers curled around hers, peaceful and unaware of the storm that had once surrounded her parents. Amara glanced toward the living room, where Ivan sat on the couch, nervously tapping his knee. He had been showing up, just like he promised, picking Zara up from daycare, sending money without her asking, even helping around her apartment. But something still held her back. She placed Zara in her crib and walked over, arms crossed. You're serious about this, aren't you? Ivan looked up, exhaustion and determination in his eyes. I love her, Amara. And I still... He hesitated, then exhaled. I still love you. Her heart clenched. How many times had she dreamed of hearing those words? But dreams and reality weren't the same. She sat beside him. Loving me wasn't enough before. What's different now? He swallowed hard. Because now I know what life is like without you. And I don't want that. She searched his face, looking for the lies, but for the first time she saw none. Still, fear gripped her. You hurt me, Ivan, she whispered. How do I trust that you won't run again? His voice was steady. Because this time, I have everything to lose. 1 week later. Dinner at Ivan's place. Ivan had never cooked for her before. But here he was, standing in his kitchen, sleeves rolled up, preparing dinner while Zara played with her toys on the floor. Amara watched him, something warm and terrifying stirring inside her. Can I ask you something? She finally said. Anything. Did you really leave your wife? He put down the knife and turned to her. Yes, the divorce is in process. And if I say I need time? He smiled softly. Then I'll wait. Epilogue. 3 months later. The day was bright as they walked through Hyde Park, Zara giggling on Ivan's shoulders. Amara looked at them, the man who had once broken her, now trying to put her back together. Maybe they would never be perfect. Maybe she would always carry scars. But for the first time in a long time, she was willing to try. And that was enough. Title: Broken Promises in London. Part 5. 6 months later. Amara's apartment. The morning sun peeked through the curtains as Amara poured herself a cup of tea. Zara giggled in her high chair, tossing pieces of toast on the floor, while Ivan picked them up, laughing. It felt normal. Too normal. Amara leaned against the counter, watching Ivan. He had changed. He wasn't just visiting anymore, he was present. He took Zara on weekend outings, helped with nighttime feedings, even met with her daycare teachers. But deep down, fear still lingered in Amara's heart. Could love really grow from betrayal? Or was she walking into another heartbreak? Later that night, Amara's thoughts. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. She loved him. She knew it. She felt it. But was love enough? Her best friend, Kioma, had warned her months ago, a man who leaves once can leave again. But wasn't redemption possible? She sighed and reached for her phone. A message from Ivan. Can we talk tomorrow? It's important. Her stomach tightened. What now? The next day. Ivan's apartment. Amara sat on his couch, arms crossed. What's so important? Ivan hesitated before speaking. My divorce is final. Her breath caught. I know I hurt you, Amara, he continued, but I've spent every moment since trying to make it right. And now, I want more. I want us to be a family. For real. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. A ring. Her heart pounded. Marry me, he said, his voice filled with hope. Not because of Zara. Not because of guilt, but because you still love me. Tears filled her eyes. Did she? Yes. But was love alone enough? She exhaled shakily. Ivan, I need time. His face fell for a moment, but then he nodded. I'll wait, for as long as it takes. For the first time, Amara didn't feel pressured. She felt safe. Maybe love wasn't about rushing. Maybe it was about choosing day after day. And as she closed the ring box and held it in her palm, she realized the next choice would be hers. Title: Broken Promises in London, Part 6. 2 weeks later, Amara's apartment. The engagement ring sat untouched on Amara's nightstand. Every night she stared at it. Every morning she ignored it. She wanted to believe Ivan had changed, but the past whispered doubts in her ear. One evening, Kioma came over, arms crossed as she eyed the ring. So, you're just letting it sit there? Amara sighed. I told him I need time. Keoma scoffed. Amara, men like Ivan don't wait forever. If you don't make a choice, he might make it for you. That thought terrified her. But was it enough to say yes? Meanwhile, Ivan's apartment. Ivan stared at his phone. No calls. No messages from Amara. Doubt crept in. Had he messed everything up again? Then his phone buzzed. A message from his lawyer. Your divorce has been officially finalized. You're free to move forward. Free. But was Amara ready to take that step with him? One evening, Amara and Ivan meet again. Amara finally agreed to meet Ivan for dinner. He watched her carefully as she toyed with her fork. I don't want to rush you, he said gently, but I need to know where we stand. She met his gaze. Ivan, I love you, but love isn't enough. I need trust, stability. He nodded. Then let me prove to you, again and again, that I won't leave. Amara took a deep breath. Then she reached into her purse and pulled out the ring. I'm not saying yes today, she said, but I'm not saying no either. For the first time, Ivan smiled in relief. That's enough for me. For now. Epilogue. The future awaits. As they walked out of the restaurant together, Ivan held her hand. Not forcefully, not desperately, but patiently. Maybe love wasn't about rushing. Maybe it was about choosing each other, one day at a time. And as the London streets glowed under the streetlights, Amara took her first real step toward something new. Title: Broken Promises in London, Part 7. 3 months later, Amara's apartment. The engagement ring still sat in its box untouched, but something was different now. Amara no longer avoided it. Ivan had kept his word. No pressure, no ultimatums, just presence. He had become a father first and a partner second. But despite all the progress, doubt still lingered. One evening, as Ivan played with Zara in the living room, Amara sat across from him. Do you ever regret it? She asked suddenly. He looked up, confused. Regret what? Choosing me. Leaving your old life behind. Ivan's expression softened. Amara, I didn't choose you over my past. I chose you because you're my future. Her heart clenched. Was she ready to believe that? Meanwhile, Keoma's warning over coffee the next morning, Keoma raised an eyebrow at Amara. Girl, he's been showing up for months. What exactly are you waiting for? Amara sighed. What if he changes his mind again? Keoma shook her head. Love is always a risk, but if you keep waiting for a perfect guarantee, you'll lose what's right in front of you. That thought stuck with Amara all day. A surprise invitation. That evening, Ivan handed Amara an envelope. A trip? She asked, confused. A weekend getaway, just us, no pressure, no expectations. She hesitated. Spending time together, away from everything. Was she ready? She glanced at Zara, who was peacefully napping. Then, she looked back at Ivan. Maybe it was time to take a step forward. She smiled softly. Okay, let's do it. Epilogue. A chance at forever. As Ivan packed their bags and Amara held Zara close, she felt something shift inside her. For the first time, the idea of forever didn't scare her. Maybe love wasn't about rushing. Maybe it wasn't about certainty. Maybe it was about choosing each other, day by day. And as she watched Ivan smile at her from across the room, she knew she was finally ready to try. Title: Broken Promises in London, Part 8. A weekend away. A new beginning? Amara stood by the window of the countryside cottage, watching the rain drizzle over the green hills. Ivan had planned this getaway as a chance to breathe, to reconnect, and maybe to move forward. He walked up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. Penny, for your thoughts? She leaned into him. I'm just thinking about everything. How we got here. How much has changed. He pressed a soft kiss to her shoulder. And she turned to face him. and I think I'm ready. His breath caught. Ready for what? She took a deep breath. For us. For forever. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the engagement ring, the same one she had left untouched for months. Ivan stared at it, his eyes filled with hope and disbelief. "So is that a yes?" he asked, his voice almost a whisper. Amara smiled, a single tear slipping down her cheek. Yes. Later that night, a promise sealed. The fireplace crackled softly as they sat together, fingers intertwined. "I won't let you regret this," Ivan murmured, his forehead resting against hers. She pulled back just enough to look him in the eyes. "Then don't." They kissed. Not just a kiss of passion, but of promises, of second chances, of a future they were finally choosing. Epilogue. A love rebuilt. Back in London, the city lights shimmered as Amara walked into her apartment, now their home. Zara, unaware of the milestone, giggled in Ivan's arms. As Amara watched them, a sense of peace washed over her. Their journey hadn't been perfect. It had been messy, painful, and uncertain. But real love wasn't perfect. It was a choice. And this time, they were choosing each other. For good, the end, or a new beginning.